Supervisors regular meeting for May 31st, 2016. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the May 24th, 2016 regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 1. Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries. Item number 2 is to receive and place on file drainage repairs. We have one turned in by Mark Glossberg, DD number 52, roll-in section 28. We are replacing a tile outlet.
Move the drainage repair, Mr. Chairman.
Second is motion, Mr. Chairman.
Questions or comments on drainage repairs? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 2 carries. Item number 3 is to approve the wage increase for Chance Cooper, correctional officer, from $15.10 to $15.42 per hour, effective June 19, 2016.
I'll move item number 3, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 4 carries. Item 5, authorize Webster County Recorder to, item number 4, receive and place on file resignation due to retirement of Erlene Jones, effective September 1st, 2016.
Well, Mr. Chairman, that seems like a reasonable thing to do, so I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Motion and second.
I've had the pleasure of working with Link for the past year and a half in my venture as the reporter here. She does a great job. She's a hard worker, and her friendliness will be definitely missed by the office.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 4 carries. Item number 5, authorize the Webster County Recorder to fill full-time clerk position due to retirement of Erlene Jones.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 5.
Second.
Questions or comments?
When do you do that? Do you want to do it early again?
I did budget for that, but in communication with other elected officials and some of my reporter peers, I'm hoping that to have the new hire start in beginning to mid-August. So
A little.
a little, yes, early. I mean, she has a wealth of knowledge as far as DNR that I hope that that new hire can learn from her. So, any other questions? All right, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 5 carries. Item number 6, receive and place on file newer management plan updates as follows. South site in section 3, Dawson Township, Green County. Nursery finishers in section 18, Freedom Township, Hamilton County. East finishers in section 23, Freedom Township, Hamilton County. And Park Finishing Holdings 2, LLC, in section 32, Dayton Township.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 6.
Second is motion, Mr. Chairman.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 6 carries. Item number 7, receive and place on file newer management plan updates for Litchfield Realty as follows. Company 1 in section 33, Garden Township. Company 2 in section 35, Yalton Township. Company 3 in section 31, Dayton Township. Company 4 in section 27, Yale Township. Company 5 in sections 33, Yale Township. Company 6 in section 31, Dayton Township. And Company 7 in section 35, Burnside Township.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to receive, place on file for manure management plan updates.
I'll second that.
Questions or comments on item number 7?
Just that Litchfield Realty certainly has a lot of creativity in there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 7 carries. Item number 8, to approve a 5-day Class B beer permit application for Celebration Inc., effective June 28, 2016. Second. You all agree on everything, Carol? Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Item 8 carries. Item number 9, approve and authorize chairman to sign memorandum of understanding with the city of Fort Dodge for construction and ongoing maintenance of wastewater lift station and force main to serve the Gypsum City OHV Park.
Chairman, I'll move item 9.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Good morning, everyone. Matt Cosgrove, Conservation Director for Webster County. This process, as you know, we've been working on for over a year now to try to get a septic system put together for the campground at the Gibson City OHV Park. After a year's worth of designs and permits that we weren't able to obtain just due to its location close to the Des Moines River and that sort of thing, we have worked with Fort Dodge on putting together a memorandum of understanding for a force main sewer system back to Fort Dodge. And currently the water line is provided by Fort Dodge as well. So what this is, so the first page I handed out to you is a cost estimate for the sewer project. This project will be led by the DNR like the rest of these projects have been, because that's where the grants have been obtained through Webster County Improvement Corporation, and DNR are the main entities on that. So the second page is kind of the breakdown of the funding of the different projects, and the sewer project really runs down at the bottom of the page. It's got 3 different line items there for a total cost of $630,500. And then the spreadsheet heading to the right shows where the funding is coming from for that. So the NRT is a federal grant. That's the $224,731. That's a federal recreational trail grant. That's matched with that $56,000 of ATV registration funds. So when people pay their registration fees for the park, you can apply for those grants. The $200,000 is what's listed in this memorandum of understanding from the city of Fort Dodge. We have an existing grant of $1,401 for the campground project that was kind of a generic campground grant. And then an additional $100,000 that was lined up over the last year with ATV registration funds. The county currently has $100,000 budgeted in this current fiscal year that you put into our budget for this project, and that's being spent over in that far column there underneath the county line item. It's basically our contract with Schneider Associates for the design and construction administration of those projects. So with this, it lines up all our funding. So there in the bottom, this $630,000 is the base sewer cost. Originally, this campground was set up to be a full service, full hookup campground. This would be basically a base service. So it would hook up the restroom facility, a dump station, and then go to a lift station. So it wouldn't be individual sewers at each site like it was originally planned. On the front page again, it shows a couple options and alternates that this is the project, that the way the project will be bid. So it will be bid as the base for that $630 roughly, and then broken out into those different alternate categories to add additional sites if you wanted to add, you know, a certain row or all the campgrounds broken down there by cost. So there in the very bottom of the spreadsheet, it shows we have available funds lined up right now just over the amount we need, the $630. Which allows this thing to be put to bid by the DNR. So it puts us on a schedule basically to have a letting on June 23rd, and then Natural Resource Conservation Board approval on July 14th for this project. So hopefully put this to bid and get that campground open and up and running.
Matt, I'm assuming that the city of Fort Dodge, you know, they'll collect fees based upon the use of the out there, things like that. Is there anything that Webster County will get off of these fees that will help offset costs that Webster County incurs in this thing?
No, I mean, basically our fees will be brought in through the camping fees, and then those will pay, you know, our water bill, which will have a percentage of our sewer bill attached to it. So the Fort Dodge piece is basically to take over the maintenance and operation of that lift station and facility so that we don't become a lift station operator. I think currently they contract with U.S. Water to do that work. So this agreement would basically allow this equipment to be put underneath their existing contract with U.S. Water to be operated that way. And then, like you said, we would be charging a fee based on our water usage that we would then pay with our camp revenues from this facility.
Practically speaking, when you forecast the campground being open, number one, and secondly, will the reservation system be incorporated into the states, or how's that?
First question, with the opening, so if this was let in July, mid-July, the project really shouldn't be, it's all boring for the most part, depending on if you decide to let any of the alternates. That would be actual trench work within the campground. So, I mean, you're looking at, depending on when the contractor could get started after award, you're looking at maybe a month's worth total of construction. So, I mean, ideally, it'd be great if we could have an opening around Labor Day weekend and be able to get open up yet this year for a few months and work the kinks out of the system a little bit. Second question, the reservation system will be put on My County Parks, so it will not be through the state. It'll be on mycountyparks.com. It's a website that all 99 counties can use and have a presence on for cabin rental, shelter rental, camping reservations if they so choose to do so. So we will be working to transition this. I don't know if we'll have it up and running just because of the processes that are involved in that for this fall if we get the campground open, but by next spring it's definitely our intent to have a reservation set up for this facility.
So you're saying the spaces will have water, but they won't have sewer?
With the base bid.
Have the base bid.
Correct. So they'd have a dump station on site, but each individual site would not have a sewer hookup. We have electricity, 50 amp source and water. Yeah.
I don't think it'd be pretty important to try to get the whole thing done right the first time, get the sewer. I'm not a camper, but Bob is that important to have the sewer? How important is that to have that hooked up?
Not as important as,
The water.
yeah, but anymore, it's it'd be a little strange for us not to have full hookups to those that you're doing the sewer at the same time. It would be a little strange. Campers are kind of frugal individuals, and so consequently, if they can, if frugal, cheap, so cheap. Yeah. If they can do just the two of those, electric and water, that's the primary, they'll go dumb. But it's very, very handy in modern times. Probably should have all three of those services available at the same time on one side. Plus, you could charge a little more money.
It will be a lot to tear up. If we don't do it this time, it'll take a lot to tear up to put it in.
Most likely, if we didn't do it now, we probably wouldn't. And then this is, so this design is 72 original. The design for the whole campground is 72 sites. What we're building currently is 33, and then we figured we would let the usage drive the future development of it for the existing, for the next bunch of sites. So most likely, if we would not award an alternate during this time, we would probably just say we're not going to have sewer at these sites, and we'll put it in when and if the expansion would occur, and then those new sites would have it because the system would already be in place. So timing here has not worked out well, basically because this part of the project has been hung up due to the permitting requirements that we haven't been able to meet. So ideally, if you were going to build a campground, you put the sewer in before you put in your roads and all those other things. Now you'd have to go and do those road cuts, which is gravel, so it's not huge, but you're still going to have that area where it settles, and you're going to have to deal with that for a few years. So I think collectively, what we'll have to decide is see when the bids do come back, we'll have to decide whether we want to disrupt the whole what's already built with grass growing and gravel already on sites to put in sewer. Is it worth our time and effort to go back and put those in now based on the costs that come back in the bidding process?
What is the date again of the bid letting?
July, we should be on track for a July, or June 23rd bid letting and a July 14th NRC approval. So a contract awarded on July 14th.
So June 23rd, if we see people come in under what we anticipate, we could add one of the alternatives or both.
So I think that's a discussion we need to have once we see those bids come back. Main thing to get this to bid, we had to hit this NRC deadline, so everything had to be sent to the DNR engineering on May 25th to stay on that track. So with that, we wanted to line up the minimum amount of funds to at least get us to that base bid funding level, and then after that, have that discussion. I know we've talked with Merrill on some of the capital improvement money that's set aside after July 1st for this park. We haven't looked at identifying a use for. So at this point, those funds aren't needed in the base project. It's whether or not this board feels it's prudent to move forward with full hookup sites, or if we just put a dump station on these 33. But you'll see here in the design, and I can show you the map of it, but it lays out pretty good that most of it's gravity, so it's not a real expense to add the bottom two that are going to be right next to the existing, where the sewer line's going to go. So it almost makes sense to at least do the one alternate of having like 2 rows, because it's all just going to be gravity flow, and you're not cutting a whole lot of road to do that. So at least you could have half of your campground pretty much into a full hookup service for a relatively inexpensive amount without tearing up everything. If you get into the full full campground, and then you're starting to cross existing electric lines. There's 2 utilities out there right now, and the other one has hit the other one. So 100%. So we start cutting into all the rest of those, and it just may create some additional problems that we don't necessarily want to deal with. I think everybody ready to put this project to bed and get it opened up. I know I am.
Yeah. Any other
I
questions?
know from Mark's phone calls and probably your phone calls, you guys are too.
All right, all those in favor of the memorandum of understanding with the city of Fort Dodge, so say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 9 carries. Item number 10, approve and authorize chair to sign agreement with LaFleur Engineering for engineering services for parking lot at Social Services Building located at 330 First Avenue North, Fort Dodge. Second. Motion and a second. Questions or comments?
This is just a contract for the engineering of the new parking lot. They're gonna start by looking at the retaining wall on the east side to determine whether we build it. Basically, we just have to determine whether we're building the east side or west side. Pretty straightforward.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 10 carries. Item number 11, receive and place on file financial report for Region 5 Hazardous Materials Response Commission for period ending June 30th, 2016.
Chairman, I'll move item 11.
Second.
A motion and a second. Cheryl, questions or comments?
Actually, we received this because, of course, they received what the year last year. So we just received it based on that. Periodically, they check these things. to see if we have their caps are going here.
And being on that commission, everything's easy.
It's the date, right?
June 30th, 2016.
So they audited it. Oh, no, that should be 15.
Yeah, it's for last year.
She's retired.
Yeah, well, it's good.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Item number 11 carries.
Want to recognize you on what we're doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor has entered the room. Item number 12 is a public hearing held on May 17, 2016, with action deferred until this date and time on proposed amendment number 4 to the Webster County Regional Urban Renewal Plan. So we will open this public hearing. Carol, do you got any written?
No written objections have been received.
Do you have any questions or comments on urban renewal amendment number 4 from the floor? From the table? If not, we'll close the public hearing. It's 10:20. We'll move on to item number 13, which is adopt resolution entitled Resolution Determining an Area of the County to be an Economic Development Area, and that the rehabilitation, conservation, redevelopment, development, or a combination thereof of such area is necessary in the interest of the public health, safety, or welfare of the residents of Webster County, designating such an area as appropriate for urban renewal projects and adopting the amendment number 4 to Webster County Regional Urban Renewal Plan.
Mr. Chairman, I move item 13.
I'll second his motion, Mr. Chairman.
Questions or comments from the floor? From the table?
I just make a comment that I think that this expansion is a way to prepare for the future to be able to help maintain our county road system, to provide the access to our ag park and other facilities. As we see the increased use of the roadways, heavier equipment on there. The potential funding will make future supervisor jobs easier to maintain.
I would like to thank thank Randy for going to the small towns, with me and talking to the city councils and mayors. My understanding is they've all read through it, signed off on this. And that's all these small under Iowa Code Section 403.19 for amendment number 4 to the Webster County Regional Urban Renewal Plan.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Oh, you want to consider?
For consideration for division of revenue. Carol, would you explain what this is?
Actually, in order to allow for TIF revenue, you would need to have such a division of revenue defined in your ordinance, and you would want to amend your ordinance. If you're not capturing that at this point, you would not want to amend it until a later date when you would want to capture them. Because once you start your sunset, clock starts ticking.
So since we have nothing that we intend on capturing the tax increment on in this new area, we won't create
But down the line, we'll have
down
to,
the line.
if you want to,
We want to.
I think amendment 3 and 4.
Yeah. But if we were to do it now, then that sets that date and that limits future abilities to like that.
So the record shows that we're not considering any ordinance for division of revenue at this time. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the record now shows that we would pass, I think.
Is that your motion?
Is that your motion, or is it die
I
or
don't
lie?
have to do anything except sit
Or
here.
just don't do it? All right, so it dies.
Well, basically, you're just referring it to later. If you have it in your minutes that this is what you're doing, down the line, when Clark's gone, I'm gone, somebody can please pick up. Okay.
Item number 15.
So you might have to get back to you, John, too.
Well, you're not gonna agree on that.
Adopt a resolution fixing dates for public hearing on the authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $5 million general obligation capital loan notes of Webster County, state of Iowa, for essential county purposes, and providing for publication of notice thereof. Said public hearing to be held at 10 a.m. on June 21st, 2016, in the Board of Supervisors room, Webster County Courthouse.
I make the motion we adopt the resolution fixing the date for public hearing on authorization of the loan agreement.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? It's a resolution, so Elon?
Aye. Leffler, aye.
Campbell, aye.
Fletcher, aye.
All ayes.
Thank you.
Item number 16 is to approve and authorize chair to sign an engagement agreement between Webster County and Allers and Cooney PC in its capacity as bond counsel and disclosure counsel in connection with the issuance of general obligation capital loan notes, Series 2016, and general obligation local option sales and service tax refunding bonds, Series 2016.
So moved.
Second. Questions or comments from the floor? From the table? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 16 carries. Item 17. Approve and authorize the chair to sign billing from Iowa DOT for testing costs in the amount of $1,178.49 on bridge replacement project BROS-CO94-102 5F94 and process payment from farm to market account.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item 17.
Second. Questions or comments? Randy?
Yeah, this bridge, which was completed last spring of 2015, utilized federal funds. When you utilize federal funds, it means that the DOT has to monitor some things that go on that project. And these are the results of their expenses to monitor this project. It was on 390th Street in Gallery Township. And we received 80% federal funds, and the remaining 20% was out of our farm to market account. So the expenses for the DOT will be paid out of our farm to market account. And there every year is quite a ways. We gather up their bookkeeping and accounting and get it sent to us, usually about 12 months behind.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 17 carries. Item number 18, approve and authorize chair to sign a proposal in the amount of $42,830 from Dan Corbin Heath to update the 1997 Webster County Geodetic Control Network.
Move item 18.
Randy?
Okay, last October, the assessor's office, the MIS department, myself, and had Dan Corbin come to you prior to the budget year, budget process for FY17, and attempted to discuss, the process needed to update our system. And then we, all three departments budgeted 1/3 of the amount in our budgets. Those budgets were approved. And now there's a proposal on the table that the contractor would like to get started with the monument portion. But if just I do have some staple handouts if you want any, if the public wants any. But and Andy's here to maybe explain some of the technical information. But back in 1986, the county made a substantial investment in the Webster County Geographical Information System, and that system included placing monuments out in the county on a 3-mile grid. There's 107 monuments, and then that's your basis for control, and then there was aerial flights, and then all this was converted into a computer system, and that's why we have probably the information we have readily available to us is because of this work that was done. It was completed in 2000, and it was, I bet, county invested over $1 million in doing this. And, what this contract from Dan Corbin, basically the purpose of this contract is to provide all the labor and materials required to readjust the existing 1997 Webster County Geodetic Control Network to the latest national adjustment of 2011. So one of the first things he wants to do is replace destroyed and badly damaged monuments. And once he gets that done, then there'll be an adjustment of the network. You have to go out and field entire domain again, then he republishes the records. And so I think that process would take the remainder of the calendar year. And if you have a system in place, you need to maintain it, basically. I guess I'm carrying the torch for it. I think it did say that the Webster County Conference Board awarded a multi-year contract for the creation of the system. And then they were the large portion of the financing was done by them, but then over the years we've agreed to a 3-way split between the MIS department and the assessor's department and the secretary department. And yeah.
I remember the situation, the discussion about this item. How does this amount compare? I mean, is it the same as what before? In other words, you split it up among 3. Is this the entire amount? Is this a portion of it? And is this approximately the same cost?
It's, as we discussed back in October, and a proposal was given to us in early January, that number has remained the same. And that's, once this is all updated and this person is reimbursed, I would imagine that's the extent of our expenses for a while. Andy's welcome to provide any comments from his perspective.
Well, basically what they're trying to do is trying to update the network itself. So, the projections and stuff are changing constantly. They're getting more accurate, so that our data will be more accurate. It's never going to be survey grade, but our GIS data now for rain, it's very important to him that they have have the right, projection in place, so that way, when they do their surveys and stuff, they're right, no, they're right on or really close. So with updating this is gonna help them in their process, knowing that it's gonna help us with the GIS data, it'll be more accurate too. So, once this is done, we'll probably have to get our projection on our GIS data too, so that way it hopefully will be, a better representation.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Item 18 carries. Item number 19 is to receive and place on file 6-month pay increase to $20.04 per hour for Brett Minzer, Class B equipment operator, effective June 7, 2016, per labor agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move item number 19.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 19 carries. Item number 20 is to receive and place on file 6-month pay increase to $20.12 per hour for Nick Lynch, Class C equipment operator, effective June 7, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 20 carries. This is now the opportunity for citizens to address the board with items not on the agenda. Board of Supervisor Committee reports. Mr. Butler.
Just reporting that CFR, Community Family Resources, has completed the purchase of some property in Western Town for purposes of new facility. Serve drug and alcohol rehabilitation.
Excellent. Supervisor Singer.
LifeWorks has continued this year, and will continue on next year as well, with their 50th anniversary, in which they have raised funds. They are now exceeding the foundation over their initial